Episode 535. Undead. More zombies, more aliens. Don't know why.
That's 2 in a row that there's fucking aliens mixed with zombies, and I don't know what's going on. Is that the new thing for zombies movies? Everybody's throwing aliens?
Well, I mean, these are older movies, though.
No, I understand that,
no.
but what's the chances? 2005 was this one, I think?
2003.
2003.
It
came out. Okay, so so you mentioned the alien aspect of the past two films, and I hope Mick agrees with me on this, and it comes back yet to my dislike of the Festival of the Living Dead. So this was filmed by the same people who brought us Daybreakers and Jigsaw. I mean, these are actually really good directors, and they ended up making a movie that is okay. So the directors themselves, this is what they like to say, is they wanted to start or have made a full-length film by the age of 25. On their birthday was actually the first day of shooting of this film. Now, this is a film that I love because it still shows how the DIY indie movement that really came from, the kids from the 1980s, and how the 1990s was still this area in which you were using the old ways, but the new ways were coming, and it wasn't, at this point. So this film, for me, watching it several times over the years, including when it first came out, it's a movie I love, but to me, I love it because it has a DIY aesthetic. I mean, it's shot on 16 millimeter, which at that time period, it's only a couple more years that films are, shot digitally. So.
Yeah. I already have my damn rating, to be honest with you guys.
Okay.
Oh boy. But, I didn't pick a good one for Sturdy Bird.
I gave it a 3.5. I like this one a little bit more than last week's because it did have more of a horror element, more blood and guts, which was always fun.
Yeah.
But overall, I didn't really care I didn't care for the story. I didn't really care for the movie too much. And again, I wish there was like more zombie action in it. Listen,
I realized picking this movie that if you didn't like it, you're dead to me. No, I know what this movie was when I chose it. I wanted something. Honestly, it's kind of ironic that we both picked zombie alien movies, because I picked this for the fact that it is a zombie alien movie. I thought it would be so different. It didn't. Thank you, James. But I thought it would be so different, and like you guys might like that idea of the change, because I do not by any means think this is like one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. If I was going that route, I would have put Anna and Apocalypse on there. But
that's a really good movie.
That's such a great fucking movie.
I will, before we're right now kind of going back and forth, The Dead Don't Die. And I hope, Mick, you agree with this, is
that it should be
the
dead.
difference. Well, yeah, the difference between The Dead Don't Die and Undead is The Dead Don't Die were a whole bunch of people who know what they're doing that fucked up. Yes, I enjoy the film, but they just wanked off. This is people over 3 years, literally putting their heart and soul into, like, what they wanted was to make a B movie 1950s into 1960s esque comedy.
Yeah.
And, these people had no idea what they were doing. There is a short from 1996, which is actually really competent, but they didn't. Everybody there was throwing in what they could. And that makes it that much more fun. Dead Don't Die.
There's Jim Jarmusch, and we should never.
There's no excuse. I still love my Jarmusch, but there was no excuse for the lackadaisical element of that movie. Where this movie, Aliens, it's a great concept. You're going with a movie that, I mean, you literally could go through and pull the references out for the entire film. But it did it in this way that was kind of this playful way of, like, ooh, winch, winch, nug, nug. What the hell that is. But like Independence Day, 1996. We really love that movie, you know. Yeah, I really enjoyed this based on literally the opposite reason that I didn't like Dead Don't Die. So I think this is a successful zombie film with aliens.
Yeah,
Okay.
honestly, well, first off, Jim Jarmusch, the man, like his equivalent to, like, let's say a movie character is Voldemort. A, because we shouldn't say his name. B, because B, because like as a villain comparatively to a lot of villains in epic movies like that, it's just kind of lame. So I think Jim Jarmusch and Voldemort kind of, no, I'm just kidding. I'm picking on you, Trevor. I'm sorry.
I know. I love my Jarmusch, but I also see where
you do understand I'm trying to get sturdy to ratings by
I understand. And
I love the back and forth.
By Ricky Laking this situation.
Ricky Laking.
Lives in that
Springer
art
in this
house
shit,
zone. It's like
Go,
Bellatar. Either you like them or you don't. And
yeah,
there's no in between, and that's fine.
And you know what though? It's the funny thing is, like, when it comes to directors like that who are very quirky and specific, I at least respect that of them. You know, like, it's either you like them or you don't. You make that, there's that hard line. You're that type of artist, and I like that. So, yeah. So, but coming back to Undead though, that's why I chose this. And actually, I have a personal connection to this movie. I remember when this was like came out in 2003 early, but it was being talked about for years before over in Australia or New Zealand, wherever it was. Yeah, it was Australian. Yeah,
Australia.
And so it was being talked about for a while, and it didn't come over here. Like, it came out in 2003 in film festivals. It didn't come over here till like 2004. I had to go to Chiller Theater convention and find a bootlegger to get this movie.
That's a very similar situation. Now, recently, although the fact that it's available on streaming, Umbrella, which is a really, really cool boutique label, if you're a movie fan, out of Australia, released a 20th anniversary of this film. And it was one of those releases that I remember, like you, Mick, it was, you know, I remember having the Fangoria magazines and all this stuff, like, oh yeah, it's a zombie film coming out of that area where Dead Alive came out of. Yeah. So I remember all that. And, you know, looking and being able to hear the director and the cinematographer talk, the biggest curse and best thing that ever happened to them was being picked up by TriStar. Because TriStar, at leading up to the home video element of it, did a beautiful job. The first marketing screening they had was in Hollywood, and Tarantino was even part of it. And Tarantino came up to them and said it was great. They were the last film in 2004, I think, in the Toronto Film Festival for Midnight Madness. Eli Roth, Peter Jackson. There were a lot of people that came out and said, hey, this is a really cool film. And that also is something you don't see as much that was still there. And that was also part of that 1990s thing. It was like, all us indie filmmakers, we stick together. And at least if nothing else, we're going to say, you know, this is whatever. This is, you know, we're going to support this movie. So that's why it was so big, you know, at the time that it originally came out, in that time period in which people were trying so hard to find bootlegs. Now, also, Roger Ebert even reviewed this film, yet again, give your TriStar in their marketing department. They didn't fuck up yet. And even though Ebert didn't like it, he said it was competent. There was so much stuff going for them. And when it went to video, there was a break, which was typical. You would go from theater to 6 months to a year until it came out in video. That's not done that way necessarily anymore. You know, so in that time, they decided they were going to market it as a straight horror film. And it actually is this film that there was so much buzz about in the horror world that literally just fell through the cracks. in the home video market, which is sad because is it as good as Dead Alive, which was made in the 90s in New Zealand? Of course, it was very influential. Better than Body Melt, another Australian like extreme horror film. But it also, it's a fun fucking movie.
Yeah.
And that's yeah. I don't, I like it. I enjoyed rewatching it, and it was very rewarding listening to the director and the cinematographer talk about, the things they did and the point that it was so fucked up. But everybody was jumping on board. So, yeah, I mean, yet again, even though I have love for Jarmusch, this is by far more successful.
And you might the directors of this, Peter and Michael, they went on, and when I was looking at it, and it's like kind of researching it as we were going, I thought it was interesting because this is a really fun movie, sort of a send up, but the rest of the movies that they make afterwards are interesting turn because they go to Daybreakers, Predestination, which is a very different, unique movie.
Yeah.
Jigsaw, and then Winchester. So, and that's an interesting fold of horror that you're playing with. And it actually, I got to give them credit because, like, as I think about all those movies, they're so different in tone, look, vibe. You can see how much talent they have just being able to change directions based on which type of story they're telling. That's a testament to them, to look them up and see that. Like, they have another one coming out called Fall 2. I wonder if it's a sequel to Fall. And if it is, I'm excited for these guys to do it. I want to see it. I want to check it out. Do you ever find that? Let me ask you guys. I found that with Ouija too. The second Ouija was so good. And that was Mike Flanagan. That was one of his early ones.
Yeah.
And comparatively to that first one, do you ever find that where, like, there's sequels that go down, you're just like, oh my God, it's early genius of somebody, or just something that won you over,
I'd have to think. I know there is some out there. I just have to think of an exact film and all that. But I know there's definitely some sequels out there. I'm just like, yep. Finally.
Wasn't Rennie Harlan Dream Warriors? I remember that. I mean, of course, it's Rennie Harlan. We don't have to go there. But as far as like a much better film and a sequel, and one that was lauded as this great future director, I think that was it, wasn't it, Mick? Dream Warriors was Rennie Harlan.
Was it? I'm not 100% sure.
I know he did one of the he did like the third sequel to third or fourth sequel. Yep.
I could see him doing it, especially with the rock background. But yeah, he did. Oh no, I don't know. I just looked up. I just looked at Dream Warriors. I haven't looked up the actual. No, Chuck Russell was the director.
Chuck Russell on that one.
That's pretty cool though.
He did one. Yeah. Well, Chuck Russell is actually a very good, competent director.
Listen, they pulled those movies. Definitely pulled some very cool people into the fold and really made them shine. Horror movies are, man, you can get some really special filmmaking out of horror. More than, like, if you get like the Mike Flanagan, like, dude's a genius.
I'm a huge fan. Yeah,
and like, go back to Kubrick. Kubrick made everything, like, fuck, I hate to say it, but, like, because I don't like to think of directors that way, but almost everything was flawless, So, but what's like he most famous for? We would argue 2001, but we're cinephiles. I think the regular Joe, which likes movies and whatever, and hears Stanley Kubrick, would be like, oh, it's The Shining. At this point, you go back 40 years, they'd probably say Spartacus, but that's just me.
Or 20, they say Full Metal Jacket.
I love Full Metal.
It's interesting because Kubrick's one of those that, each generation kind of revisits one of his films.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Death of a Genius, man. Death of a Genius. Sorry, we got trailed off there.
It doesn't, because... Oh, sorry, Sturdy.
Oh, no, I was just saying that's fine. I was just saying that's fine. And just to add on to you, Mick, as far as like with the horror goes, that's a big reason why it's my favorite genre, is because it can literally go in any direction, and as long as you have the right people around it or behind that story or whatever, it can be a really good story. I don't think you could do that with any other genre. I really don't think you could do that with any other genre.
You're a ridiculous human being. Your favorite genre should be documentary.
Documentary.
There's some
Dude,
good ones out there, but I won't say.
1970s porno.
Listen, I love documentaries.
That's a good documentary.
Attack of the Bush.
Oh my!
It's called Teeth, James. We have that movie.
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't seen it.
that was a weird movie when I first seen it. I was like, what
I've
the
never
fuck?
seen that. and
I'm
it's-
excited that
it's gonna be a
Feed
third
is
of it.
available finally. Speaking of weird movies,
Wait, which
What is
movie?
it?
I'll tell you guys about it later.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
See.
but
Oh, real quick.
it's kind of similar in the Teeth, except it's yeah.
Okay.
Aaron, you like Batman Returns better than? Is that your favorite one? The part 2 with Danny DeVito, Penguin?
They're both about the same, 89, but
Oh,
Returns.
okay.
I'd probably give the edge to Returns if I had to
Yeah.
choose one.
Yeah. Oh. But anyways, I know my rating for this movie now too.
Oh, that's good. What's your rating, James?
I'm going to give this. It was just okay for me, but it wasn't horrible. So I'm going to go down the middle and go 5. I think I did a 5 last week too.
Yeah.
It was just like the kills were silly. Okay, for one, they're slicing through these people that just turns on me. They're not rotted. They're slicing through them like they're butter with fucking like things that shouldn't even cut you like that. You know, knocking a head off with one slap. I'm like, the hell's going on? I did like that one kill though with the was it the saw blade got stuck in his forehead and then dragged his face off, and he stuck and he fell and his face was stuck to the sidewalk because all the fucking nastiness.
Chip. Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But here's the thing with this, okay? So I'm like, okay, meteors. I'm like, here we go with the meteors again. Okay, we just watched a movie where the meteors created zombies. It blew a hole through people and they turned a zombie in like 2 seconds. Then,
Yeah.
then it starts to rain, and everybody's like, oh, the rain is burning. Now the rain, they don't know that's healing them. They think it's, oh my God, acid rain is melting them. That's going to turn them to zombies and shit. So they're covering up, pouring regular water on them to wash off that shit. But then you see these dudes in cloaks with a glowing face. Why didn't they just have them look like how they looked at the end? I understand they're probably undercover.
Money.
They didn't want them to know that they're aliens, but they know they're aliens because you're beaming people out the fucking ground, like out of nowhere. So especially at the end, it was really weird. Like people are getting healed, and they just turned normal, and all of a sudden it's like, bam, a fucking beam hits them.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like that chick in the cars on the ceiling of the car. The fucking beam is trying to fight her out of the car. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
What about the dude that was holding the other dude's wrist and they were both getting beamed up and he just dropped in the bed of the truck? Yo, what was funny about that though was when he fell in the bed of the truck, there was nothing wrong with him. I'm like, he was high up as shit. He should have been dead.
I think he hit a roof. I don't think it was the bed of the truck. Didn't he land on a roof?
I thought he landed in the back of the truck.
Better
Either
try
way,
it. Yeah.
either way, he
But
was high
he-
as shit.
Yeah.
Either way, he was
Oh,
high as shit and he should have been gone. There was
Yeah.
that. And
he
then-
was the one that actually was at that point turning.
Yeah.
And
true.
the ending of this movie is so, it is actually quite novel. It's like, oh wow, the aliens have come, the aliens have shown that they can, like, they are the
They
saviors.
stayed us and left.
Oh shit, this guy who thought he was doing the right thing ended up literally screwing everything up, and literally
Yep.
Felicity Mason's character is left to guard the town,
Yep.
waiting for the damn aliens to come back.
Yeah, he thought he was like, because the fishing boat thing, he thought he was like a prophet or something. I fought him off somehow. I got this power. You got the power too, he says to her. I'm like, the fuck are you
Mungo
talking about?
McKay, yeah.
What power? You're going around with two. Okay, it's pretty cool that you shot those spring action fucking guns from your back over your head and catching them and shooting people.
Listen,
You
it's
are a
called
fisherman.
Four spring action.
Oh, 4 spring action. You're right. You're a fisherman. Where the hell? Since when you become like fucking a fucking like a martial arts superhero? Fucking like John Wick shit. Like the
Because
fuck
he
is
was
At what
abducted.
point do you put a chainsaw on your hand that there isn't one?
Well, he was
I
he was
mean-
abducted, so I could see him becoming and plus he lives in the outback. All right, let's
Yeah, that's true.
everyone like they may not have guns out in Australia, but they do.
Yeah.
Well, they do. They have shotguns.
yeah.
They're allowed to have shotguns.
Yeah. Oh, that shotgun was
like
pretty badass though.
Yeah.
Was it 3 or 4 of them hooked together?
4 of them put together pretty
That
much.
was pretty
That
cool.
was cool. And that was cool. And then I like the It was. I found it funny too. Earlier in the movie, where they get out of the garage, and he just hits those like 3 or 4 zombies. It looks like he barely even touches them. They just explode. There's blood all
Exactly.
over
That's what I'm getting at. I'm like, okay, maybe he does have a superpower. He's Superman. He's just punching holes through people.
It was like this. The garage door goes up. He just drove. They're standing there. He didn't floor it. He just boop, boom, blood everywhere. Windshield's covered in blood. That's just cleaning it off.
Nobody is mentioning the zombie fish.
Oh, the zombie
fish. This is, you know, yeah. I mean, and you gotta love a movie that does something like that. And the first thing that you think is, wait, Marion, you were bit by zombie fish. Why aren't you a fucking zombie?
Exactly.
Oh my God, it did explain.
And how does a dead fish just fly at them? Like, what the fuck? They're not flying. What the fuck? They don't have wings. How the hell they get off? I understand flopping around, but they're like, bah! Like someone threw them at them.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I've been on the show quite a bit. That means I've watched some shit.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So you're going to give me shit for a comedy having a flying zombie fish?
No,
Listen.
I'll just say it's funny because of it. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, is that a flying? How the fuck are they flying at him?
And you've been on the show a lot longer. So what are you talking?
Huh?
I'm still wanting to convince these guys that it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we'll be able to do that.
No, I don't have nothing against it. It was just so weird to me. I didn't expect it. I'm like, why are these fishes flying at him? then he has this fucking hook thing for a fishing pole. It's like it's Lucky Charm or something. Motherfuckers just can't. They keep showing it, and I still don't understand about it.
MacGuffin.
I'm like, the fuck is going on with that?
It's Undead's MacGuffin. That's all it is.
But other than that,
not
the
meant to
movie's
be the
not
main
horrible.
thing.
Yeah,
The movie's not horrible. It reminded me of something like, of course, we've seen movies like that before where they thought they're safe, but then there's one zombie that gets loose.
Yeah,
that happens a lot. But you know, you got to make it so you can set up for zombies are taking over the world type shit. You can make a part 2 if you wanted to. But it's just how they mixed. I honestly, last week and this week, I think it was last week with the alien again, right?
yep,
Aliens.
yep. Because I was the dead.
I watched a lot of zombie movies. I never seen zombies and aliens mixed. And what's the chances of those 2 in a fucking row?
Back-to-back weeks.
What the fuck is going on?
So,
It's just a weird concept. I never thought of that. I seen cowboys versus aliens or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck is this? At least it's a human on a horse fighting aliens or some shit. But I'm like, you're putting aliens in zombie movies? The fuck is going on?
And I'm with you too, James, with the whole like, what are the chances of it being back-to-back weeks? Because it's not like we picked them back-to-back weeks. I mean, as far as we had a little wheel spin or whatever for both of these. I'm like, back-to-back weeks, we literally got zombies and aliens.
Indulge me for a moment. I want to check the Horror We're So Sturdy podcast episode reviews for myself, because I'm taking offense here and I'm bringing it with me. Let's see, what have we done on the show? So we've done The Dead Don't Die. We've talked about that with Jim Jarmusch. So don't you dare complain about Undead.
Listen.
Well, you weren't awake for zombies, so I'm not going to argue that. Festival of the Living Dead was one of the best movies of all time, so I get it.
Of all time. We kicked it off with Outside. That was an awesome zombie movie.
That was not just a good zombie movie. That was a fucking wonderful existential film about abuse. So, it wasn't even, in my opinion, a zombie film.
That is true.
Yeah, so we went out the gate. Like,
but the funny thing is, it was like kind of like sledding down a hill. Like we started up here, and then it's just been a decline. And then I feel like with last week's movie and this week's movie, I like this one a little bit more. It's like when you're going down the hill and you hit that like little slope, that little bump, and go down.
Knowing the film that we're going to talk about, I have safe to say that it is going to do that. So
I was looking at the Sir Sturdy episodes. And I was like, what am I? And I was like, oh shit. Man, since Trevor and I joined the show, they watch a lot more good shit.
Yeah, because Trevor's been like when he first joined, we're like, yo, Trevor, because you got this weird fucking category of movies we never seen. We're like,
Oh, yeah.
give us some, and
Let's
they were
go.
awesome. So
Mhm.
we had a good streak of a lot of good movies.
Let's go. And then, you know, we got to.
But then,
It's-
hey,
it's gonna
then,
be all
then-
over the
then
place,
you get me involved picking a movie and someone else picking them. You know, that's
Yeah.
what happens. That's what happens. You know, I pick something I've never seen. I look at the cover. I go, what's this about? I go,
Yeah.
huh?
Mhm.
Okay, let's put it on there. I don't do research of like if it was fucking award winning or anything, or people are saying it's trash. I just put it on there. Then, oops, my bad. You guys got a shitty movie because of me. My oopsie.
Listen, and but the
Yeah,
thing is, though, I
a
don't
lot of
want-
us shop for records that way for new music. So, you know,
and those are movies you don't want to skip
well, at least
over either.
before
though.
streaming. You know,
You know what I mean? Like, I know there's a lot of people and a lot of shows out there that like to just touch on the good ones. I'm like, nah, fuck that. That's boring.
No,
I'd be bored.
Yeah,
If I watch, as crazy as this sounds on this podcast, if I'm only reviewing and watching good movies, I'm gonna get fucking bored and mad. Like, nah, fuck
Mhm.
this. It's time to put some bullshit on here now because it's just you find gems when you watch when you watch movies like this. You do find some gems to where I know you guys like this movie more than I do, but you find these gems to where you're like, oh shit, like Helen Keller versus the Night Wolves.
that shit was so.
If we just watched theatrical releases and big name movies, we would have never ever
I
even
would have
heard
never
of it.
heard of it. Yeah.
No,
And we had a blast.
no. Shut this down. That's not what I'm saying. It is
What do you-
every American's God-given right, and I'm saying this as your duly elected movie president. It is every American's God-given right to watch whatever the fuck they want to watch,
I agree.
as long as it is not lewd or involve children in any way. Because even
So no
child
kids can be in
actors
movies?
like in Goonies suck. No, I'm
No, I like
there's a
some.
whole genre of film there.
no,
I mean,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah.
No.
Just say.
You can watch any movies that are good.
Village of the
Nothing
Damned.
bad. Nothing really bad. We know what we're talking about. Talking about that bad stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, behind James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Mick don't like movies where kids get hurt.
I'm going off the rails here.
Oh,
Listen. But
I don't care.
I'm not judging your terrible movie choices. And yes, they found some amazing gems. I love the fact that you review out there movies. Never, ever stop that.
Oh, that's never.
What I'm saying is when you watch this movie and you see a zombie fish flying and you've seen so much bullshit.
Listen,
It's a logical thing. Like,
It's
well,
different
this has to be
categories, Mick.
explained.
It's a different
I'm just
bullshit.
happy
That's
that he
all.
It is.
explained why he didn't become a zombie.
Yeah, that too.
It-
I'm like, what the hell's going on? I thought you get bit turning a zombie. What is it? Just they're just turning zombies out of nowhere because of the
Yeah,
fucking gas.
and hold up. Going back to this fish bullshit thing, I'm gonna say it like this. Certain movies that you like more, you know what I mean, like a movie that you really like.
Mm.
There's bullshit in a lot of movies. Those movies you accept it because you really enjoy the movie. It's kind of like people.
Mhm.
Like there's certain people you accept some more bullshit from than you will from others because you like them more. So that's probably why James is pointing out the fish thing. 'Cause-
Joy said he'll eat a zombie catfish.
see,
Yes, I saw that.
because going back to the Helen Keller movie, there was a lot of crazy bullshit in that movie, but we all had a wonderful time, loved it. Trevor, I recommend that movie for you. Helen Keller versus
I
the Night Wolves.
watched it.
Oh,
What did you
watched
think?
it?
I forget a lot of it.
See,
I
was
just thought it was
kind
so
of funny
silly.
for the first 15 minutes.
oh man,
No.
you know what it is, Troy.
I watched the
Trevor
rest of
watched
it
the
and it
first
just
15
didn't
minutes then,
resonate
'cause
with me.
It's
Yeah.
funny all the way through.
that type of
Especially when
movie.
they're
There,
getting attacked by the wolves and you can see the fucking paws with the sticks. People are like,
that movie there, I'll say Trevor and Troy, if you're listening, and whoever else is listening, Helen Keller versus the Night Wolves is definitely a movie you want to watch with people with a sense of humor.
It's
Like, if
fucking-
you
It
watch
was
it alone, it's
wonderfully offensive,
yeah.
and it knew
Oh,
it, and it
yes.
played that card very well. So
Oh.
I can't say horrible things about it, but honestly, I don't remember that much about the film minus that and being like, oh, these guys have, or guys, gals, or whatever, have balls.
Well, I mean,
You know,
I'll say this. I'm gonna do another watch party for that one of these days, and it'll be
Mhm.
earlier, like on a Saturday or something, whatever. It'll be one of these days where we can all get in there and watch it together because it is funny. Bring your weed.
Definitely funny with people.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it
It's,
alone. I was laughing my
it's-
ass off. As a matter of fact,
it is just so out there.
so
Bring
really
your
quick with this
succulents.
movie.
Yeah.
I watched that movie. I watched the movie. Me and James reviewed it on here a couple of years ago or whatever, right? And then as we're talking about it, my brother hops in the comments and he was like, I gotta see this. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to order this movie for you right now. I went right on to Amazon, I found it, ordered it, sent it to him. It took like a month to get to him. Both of us forgot. He was like, what the hell is this? But after he watched that movie, he was like, yo, this is my shit. I want to review this. So we did it on Sterno Vision, and we had like 7 or 8 of us that night to do the watch party and the review. And
Oh
my god, Trevor, it was hilarious. It's one of it's one of those things where you're watching, when you're watching something funny, it's a lot funnier when you're watching it amongst like-minded people.
Oh yeah,
that laugh at the silly. That's definitely one of those. That's a watch party movie in its fullest. I highly recommend that for anybody who has a sense of humor, and will watch those silly ass horror movies, because that is my shit. Oh my god!
And they made that movie. They knew what they're doing. They're like, yo, let's make this silly as shit. Check this out.
But that's what I respect about it, is that when movies know their limits or know that like what they can do, and they just do that, and if it works, sometimes they do whatever they can do and it don't work. Like this, it was okay at best for me. Going back to this Undead movie, it was okay at best. It just, I don't know what it was that didn't really click with me, but hopefully, before I get
another different style version of a fucking zombie movie I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Like how they turn zombies and healing them and shit. It's the first time there's a cure. I think. Was there other movies that there's a cure? I can't remember.
I'm sure there was. I can't think of any.
Was there an alien cure? No, I don't know.
No, not an alien cure.
No, not alien. I'm just saying a cure.
Oh, wait. Not technically aliens, but technically 3 of the movies this month involve space in some way, because Festival of the Living Dead incorporated the meteorite.
Yeah.
And that one chick getting beamed up.
Oh,
she wanted to go home. She said, I'm out of here.
Space, the final frontier, man. Yeah. Thank you.
So really quick before we discuss this more, and before I show you guys what next week's movie is. Boom.
That's not
doing it again. No, next week's no. I'm talking about next week's movie. I'll show next week's movie poster next.
Oh,
doing it again. Casters for a cause, people.
Yep.
Brought to you by the Scene Snobs.
It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a fun time.
I really want to do something with this.
Well, yeah, I got space for you.
Yeah, I'll be talking to you about multiple things, but yeah, definitely want to do something with this.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to give the rundown, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Dirty Bird. If you could leave it up, just so anybody who's still looking. Guys, we do this thing called Casters for a Cause. Sometimes we do script reads, but most of the time we do these things I like to call fun-dathons. And that's it's just to kind of bring some fun, bring casters together to talk about whatever we do in normal shows, but we're all raising money for good causes. And right now California needs help. It is on fire. It's tough. Please, I don't this isn't anything political, anything like that. We're going to be giving to the American Red Cross, which they're giving towards LA wildfires. The GoFundMe link is live. You can donate at any time. Please watch us that day, though. It's February 1st, starting at 3 p.m., hosted by Sturdy and I. All these fine gentlemen and many, many, many more people are going to join in. We'd love to have you. Let's talk about it. Let's help out. Let's do everything we can. That's what it's all about. So, that's coming up. Hopefully you guys can be a part of that.
Hell yeah. And listen, it's going to be a great time. Like he said, there's from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then with Sterno Vision. So, it's going to be something crazy, something weird, something fun, as always. And kicking it off with the Scene Snobs, there's a whole lineup of us just having a good time. And most importantly, trying to raise money for the LA fires and people that really, really, really need it. And now's the time to help. Now's the time to start helping. So let's get it done. Let's help.
If you can get Dan and Tim on, I say for Sturdovision, we all put on our onesies as a tribute to the final onesies, which was a very short-lived horror podcast that Dan and I and a few others hosted, where we all just wore onesies and talked about horror.
Wow.
Listen, you guys know I already will. I wore my shit like the past couple of weeks. I was like, listen, I'm gonna throw this Friday the 13th onesie on. I got a Ninja Turtles one too, Raphael. So I'm down.
I had to get
I'm
one.
down.
I never in my life thought to get a onesie.
They're comfortable, man.
I want Trevor to get a onesie of exactly what he's wearing.
That'd be
Maybe if you
crazy.
find that on Temu.
That'd be amazing.
That would be awesome.
That was
It's like he still looks the same.
But like he just zips it up.
Yep, now that just kicks his feet up. He's like, I'm going to bed, guys. Right after this.
And like he doesn't have the hat on, but then he flips the hood up and it's got the brimmed hat.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You and Heisenberg are the only two I know that can pull off that hat.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hey, he looks good in it. It was a good look. I can't pull off that hat.
A Jimmy Walker onesie.
A Jimmy Walker onesie. Yes.
Dynamite.
That would be
Oh
dynamite.
my God. That was on the other day. I put that on the other day and I had no problems. That was my chill day. I was like, you guys are going to watch some old school.
There you go.
J. Walker was awesome.
I did not put on, like most people put on Brady Bunch. I was like, that was good times, man.
And then
That was
next
more
week,
fun for me.
boom.
Yay!
Episode 536. So yeah, we're
Is this a love story?
No.
Okay.
No.
We're,
It is a very, very well-made film from, I think, around 43. I'm not 100% certain, but it also frames the zombie in nothing that we've touched. So it frames the zombie in the traditional Haitian Caribbean style.
Oh, the voodoo style, right?
Voodoo style, yes.
Awesome. Okay.
I'm into it because I was thinking about watching Serpent from the Rainbow because I had just watched
Great film.
Live and Let Die.
Mm-hmm.
Super racial. But if you think about it from a 70s standpoint, you're like, okay. I guess it's okay.
That's the best more. That is the best more Bond, in my opinion.
It's definitely the best theme song.
When you talk about Live and Let Die, I want to be there.
Yes, I'm down for that because there's so much to talk about, but it's so wonderful, and I don't want to give anything away.
The only good Wing song,
Voodoo, like which is that's what I'm talking about. It's not done right. We realized since the 70s. Real lore and such, but like it plays up on the voodoo and that, everything. And like I've been so into it, so now I'm stoked to watch this movie even more.
Serpent in the Rainbow is phenomenal. I actually got a chance for my master's to interview Wade Davis, and he's a total lunatic. There's a reason why his work is laughed at by the academic community. But no, he was total. I have to try to find that interview, but no. Serpent in the Rainbow is one of the best Wes Craven ladder films. It's one of my favorite of his, hands down.
And Troy and Trevor, if you guys want to join us on Popcorn and Pints for the reviews of the Bond films, just let us know. Let us know the movies you want to join for, because we're doing 2 at a time and all that good stuff. And
is Live and Let Die a Guns N' Roses song?
No, they did a cover up.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a good job. Like it's a great version.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
But that Paul McCartney Wings version, though, and in they use it so well because I think it's one of the first James Bonds that kind of steered away from the traditional James Bond music that Connery had, and like really Live and Let Die played like even the jingle in it and like in the score and stuff. So it is very cool. The movie is
totally different.
It is, and it's, but like I like how they incorporated that. That I hadn't done that before.
Yeah. Well, I honestly think of the Bond franchise, Live and Let Die is the smog monster if compared to Godzilla. It's so different.
It is so different,
and it's so freaking awesome. But
I had a lot of fun with it. Like, dude, what is it with everybody in Sharks? But we're gonna get on to that. Popcorn and Pints. This is what it is. Like, You got to get on it because Popcorn and Pints is a fun, just like Horror So Sturdy, but we broaden it over. Well, we don't. I'm a guest, but we broaden it over there.
Hang on, I got to interrupt. You're an honorary co-host. You've been on there way too long to be a damn guest, Mick. You know this.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's but for me, like it's so much fun because I love horror, so I get my horror fix when I'm on here, but I don't. And now I kind of do, but like for a while, I didn't always get to talk to people about movies. You know what I mean? Like a group. So it's cool to be on Popcorn and Pints every week, where it's just like we're reviewing, and it's old stuff, and like this James Bond trip has been so much fun because I haven't seen them all. I've seen less than half. Well, not anymore. But
not anymore. Yeah, no, you're like on what are you on? Fucking movie number 12.
I just finished Man with the Golden Gun. I'm starring in The Spy Who Loved Me. I'm super stoked to go. I loved Christopher Lee and The Man with the Golden Gun. And that's the thing, like every passing one, are all of them great? No. I mean, there's some Connery ones where you're like, That's why like you can't get mad at
some
the
have
Rock
not
anymore.
aged well. Let's put it that way.
That's a good way of putting it. I mean, I've only watched the first two so far for last week's show.
Well, I was curious where you guys are right now.
Oh yeah, we
in the show.
We just started last week.
Goldfinger's next.
Goldfinger.
I'm just so far ahead.
And Thunderball, right?
And Thunderball. Yeah, we're doing
good movies. Well, Goldfinger is like that is the
literally that's the
Bond
laser,
film.
The laser at the table that Bond is tied to. That is that movie.
Yeah. Okay. That is the gold standard, no pun intended, of Bond films.
After that, they gave up the gold standard. Fucking Nixon. Civics joke.
Yep.
Oh man, I can't wait. I really can't wait to dive down that road more again, just because more movie knowledge and just
well, what happens
you hear from one film to another and all that. And I'm looking forward to it. Kind of like with the Godzilla thing we did last year, Star Wars, Star Trek. I know there's gonna be a lot.
I to watch all the Bonds. It's just they're over. Like I couldn't do it myself. They're overwhelmed. I'm like, there's too many. I've seen probably like 5 of them, maybe. Recent, more of the newer, like Craig.
Yeah.
Like I never seen these really old ones. I seen the one Octopussy that had Octopussy in it. I think I seen.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I think I
remember seeing that in theaters.
Which one is with the video game? Is it
GoldenEye?
GoldenEye. Seen that? So I always wanted to watch them all because I know a lot of people that talked about Bond and shit. Same thing with like Doctor Who and everything. I'm like, I couldn't get involved because I'm like, I never got around to them. I was like, there's too many. There's too many.
There is a lot. And you know what it is too, and I'll say for both Horror So Sturdy and Popcorn and Pints, more so Popcorn and Pints, I'll say there was a lot of movies, the franchises, a couple that we've done so far that I wanted to watch, but it's like but to do it for the podcast, it makes it a lot easier.
It is easier.
Because it's like one, you have to watch it for the show
in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then 2, you have people to talk, you have the conversation. So it's like boom, I'm watching it. This is why I'm watching it. I'm watching it to have this conversation with some friends and have a great conversation. The show's always fun, no matter how the movies go. The shows are always fun. Yeah. And it's just like it feels like less of a chore when you're doing it like this. For me, I'll say for me, when you're doing it as a show.
Same.
Unless the movies are terrible, those are the ones that are just like, oh fuck, I have to watch this shit.
And to kind of push the Popcorn and Pints with that, the night of the casters, we're doing a Popcorn and Pints, but it's a punishment.
Yep.
And on our punishment shows, we call them plot roasts. We have to watch a really bad movie. All of us, the entire cast of the show, has to watch a really bad movie that was chosen by our punishment wheel. And this one for casters is a special one because it's one we really hate, and that is The English Patient. So we get to roast that movie and then roast Chris for not being there.
Yeah, so that's another
that would
thing.
be fun.
So we have a new rule with Popcorn and Pints. So we have with our old punishment rules. It would be if you miss an episode, or you're the reason why we move an episode, because here and there we will do that. You would be the one that's punished. You would have to watch an extra movie by yourself and then review it and this, that, and the third. But flipped it up, changed it up. So now it's what Mick was saying. We all have to watch it, talk about it, roast it and all that, but also roast the person for the reason why we have to watch this movie. And on top of that, they will be
Basically
sitting
trying to
like,
make him cry.
it'll be something like this, to where, say if it's me or this screen, to where, you know what I mean? To where the person who's getting roasted is going to be in the biggest screen for
Okay.
the reason, just so you know, like this asshole is the reason why we had to watch this damn movie.
Look at you. Ugh.
Oh, it's going to be so fun.
I knew it was going to land on that fucking movie too.
The tough part is going to be getting through that damn movie, but after that, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be golden. And we took a break from Bond for that week just because it just makes the most sense. Like there's so much going on, and we know it'll be a lot more entertaining for the viewers of us talking shit about each other in a movie, raising money versus trying to talk about Bond. And it's just a long ass day. That's a long day to be trying to get through Bond and all this other shit that we're going through. So, The English Patient, and on Stereo Vision we are doing what is the movie called again, Mick? Not The Last Dragon.
No, we're not doing The Last Dragon. We're doing Big Trouble in China, which is
Big Trouble in China.
Favorite,
Which is a great film.
So I would like to say congratulations to Sahara Podcast. I don't have an affinity for the Academy Awards, but thankfully maybe they are seeing the error of their past ways. Nosferatu has seen a lot of not important ones, as she should, but has seen a lot of love and The Substance. So The Substance is even up for Best Picture. So yeah, that's for a place that has always like kind of shunned horror. It's very
a verboten genre. Like science fiction was even a little bit more classic. The Oscars have always turned their nose at horror. But speaking of reviews, I don't Mick, did you review Undead? What was your score?
Oh, my right. I know. 6 because it has nostalgic value for getting it at the thing. But yeah, for the most part, it is not a great movie, but it's a mid. It's a fun movie. I think people should check it out. They like zombie movies.
What do you give it, Trevor?
I give it a 7. And yet again, I have to point out the fact that so this is a movie that seems like it's throwing everything in the kitchen sink. Well, understand this was a movie that was in development for years by two people who were related and obsessed with film. And it was heavily storyboarded. It was fully scripted. The shoot was 40 days. And then over the next year and a half, 20 days, they were using a particular kind of film stock, 16 millimeter, super 16 millimeter. I don't know the exact, but it was the cheapest. But also, while they made it, and this is definitely something that I have to, the Andrew Strawhorn, I believe, was a cinematographer on this. They could not actually see the image clearly. Like there would be large white spots in the Viewmaster for this. So they would have weeklies. So when the stuff was processed and came back, a lot of the stuff had to be redone because they didn't know. Everything was done like scientifically. Like, okay, we have this done in storyboard. Technically, this should all work. And they had come up with a lot of things pertaining to how the film was going to look to get around things like they couldn't actually see what they were filming. So there was a lot of thought and a lot of DIY and a lot of like everybody in the kitchen sink doing their part to make this film happen. And it really is a labor of love, which is very much like the indie movement that spawned this film in the 1990s. So that's my pleaded argument for why Undead is a better film than The Dead Don't Die.
That's fair. I do agree it's a better film, but I wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy about either one.
So much better than Festival of the Living Dead. Just gotta say.
Disagree. But that's what I love. That's what I love about this type of stuff, though, is You don't like Festival of the Living Dead at all, which I love that. I don't really care for these movies, and I like how we have different opinions on this, different because it just makes the conversations more interesting, more
Well,
entertaining,
it's
more
been
fun.
fun to not have necessarily the same opinion, but
Yeah.
also this particular zombie walk has been some surprise opinions. So it's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. You know, whether the movies have been great or not, it's nice to have conflicting views with movie fans. It's fun.
Speaking of movies, gentlemen, I have some homework for you three gentlemen, and myself.
I'm not in school.
February is found footage. So
boy.
need one found footage movie we haven't reviewed
Oh, sweet.
from each of you.
Butterfly Kisses.
One cut of the dead.
Just send me the movie posters. I'm not going to remember this
God
stuff.
damn. They're right off the
My
top of
best
their
friend
dome.
made Butterfly Kisses.
Awesome.
Eric Christopher Myers.
Nice. Yeah, when you get a chance to
he died he killed himself several years ago.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
But that's my pick if you haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I
never watched it. No.
I would like to say about next week, though. I do want to be here. I will watch the movie. I don't know if I will be, only because it's like 2 days out from the charity event, and that week I always tend to be like a little crazy.
Listen.
Oh, you got to prep everything and make sure everything's set and shit. So understandable.
Oh, actually, I'll ask you after the show, Mick.
Sounds good.
The show. So, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Some found footage for February, and I cannot wait because I love that genre. I love that freaking genre. I'm gonna look for something tonight, tomorrow, whenever. And
Cannibal Holocaust, man, where it all began.
I'm not coming that way.
I love
we already did it.
In my top 20 of all time.
We did. Crazy.
It was wild. It was wild. It was definitely different. It was definitely out there. It was one of those ones though that like I wanted to watch, but it was in the middle. And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. And we did it. Got it done. I can say I seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can say I seen it. But any last thoughts on this film here? Undead?
I mean, I just a special place in my heart, so I think people should check it out, but that's just me.
I'm the type of person, I'll never tell you not to watch a movie. Even if I hate the movie, I'll say watch at your own risk. But I'll never tell you not to watch a movie because shit, you might watch it and love it. And who am I to say you shouldn't watch something?
It's a splat stick movie, not a horror film. That's what I have to say about it. So don't enter like TriStar did for the video release with the idea it's a horror film, because it's not. And it's not what they intended to make, a horror film.
No, definitely not. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you go and look at their directing credits after this, it's so different. Like, it's not a horror film, but it's like somebody who made this, you could see them going on to making like some pretty good horror films. So.
That's that time period in which Ethan Hawke was really helping out a lot of indie people.
Yeah,
because it's weird. You go back to that, and it's I think even Linkletter was one of those that Ethan Hawke would be like, hey, just use my name, I'll do it, I love your stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, what was the first one? Before Sunrise,
which ended up being a legendary trilogy.
Yeah, and like he was all in from that, like, so.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
This was a good time, gentlemen.
Don't tell me what to do.
This was a good time, gentlemen. I wish the movie was
a lot of fun,
but I had fun. And again, this is what we just discussed. Undead. And listen. Finally, James, you know what I'm doing tomorrow on Stereo Vision? A movie that was requested. Actually, a movie that was requested for you to watch and talk about. But
Lord of the Flies.
Boom. Yes.
Okay.
Finally doing this on Stereo Vision, Lord of the Flies.
It's an okay adaptation.
Big shout out to Liz. She's been asking mainly James to watch it, let her know what he feels about it, but he hasn't. So
I haven't watched it yet.
It's not a bad movie.
And because
it's
it's
not
that. I just I keep forgetting about it. I never get around to it. I seen it before. Did I see it before? No.
I don't know. I'll remind you to watch it. I know you're not gonna be on the late night show, but I'll remind you to watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm too old. I can't make it, man. Can't make it.
But if you're talking about the Peter Brooks version, I'd be there. Although this version is actually not bad.
I have no clue. I didn't know there was more than one version. Of course, there is.
Of course,
There's always
the
more than one
legendary novel Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, I know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Peter Brooks version is superb. This one was really good, and it definitely has a very late 80s 90s feel to it.
Nice. And then Saturday over on Popcorn and Pints.
I really want to be here for this, but I don't know if I can.
007. We're doing it. And yes, you see us in our Harry Potter shit. Listen, we're magical people. We're all over the place.
It's
We're
called Goldfinger, not Brownfinger.
Just my love for Shirley Bassey doing the song Goldfinger is such a perfect film.
I'm telling you right now.
Goldfinger.
You know what Goldfinger is? That's another tune. And it's such a simple tune too. Like when you hear it, I'm like, wait, that's what I can't think of it because I'm like 10 movies deep, and I'm so pissed. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. But they play it, and I'm just like,
the Midas touch.
It's something I can't remember because they're like Goldfinger, like, and it's just every time they play it because they did it in that movie too, where they really incorporated it into the score.
But it's a continual cue.
Yeah, but it's another song. I'm telling you, once I figure it out, I will talk about it.
They come up with the weirdest names of movies, and the women, Pussy Galore.
Yeah, it's over sexualized.
It's hilarious.
Ian Fleming was a misogynist asshole. Let's be honest. And the movies are not as wacky as the books. I've only read bits and pieces of them, but
listen, Ian Fleming wasn't on set saying, "Hey James, slap this woman around, throw her around, make sure you force a kiss on her."
Yeah,
like that dude was blatant. That was him.
Yeah. Ian Fleming was an asshole.
The whole thing, like, oh,
let's post that up there.
He has a license to kill, not a license to rape.
Why every episode?
I knew it was going there at some point. And it's probably going to go there a lot with Bond.
I really want to see a woman Bond. I know everybody is freaky about that.
It can happen.
And I still want a Idris Elba Bond because, well, at least for me, Idris is my, male crush. But either that or, of course, a female Bond would be fascinating. Yeah. Or even a gender neutral or, heteroflexible Bond. I think that would play with a lot of the issues that people have with the films. Because, the films you gotta look at their fucking source material. They come off feminist compared to their source material, and that's really bad. So.
Actually, I can't. Just watching, what was it, the Man with the Golden Gun? When he has the one woman underneath the covers hiding because the other guy's girlfriend comes in. And so he makes her go hide in a closet for hours while he makes love to them.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just like, man. They're not doing this, right? And they're just showing her like falling asleep in the closet. And I'm like, then he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And it's like, whatever. So yeah, Trevor, I'm with you. I don't care.
Listen, so make sure you guys tune in to Popcorn and Pine Saturday for a lot more Bond talk. And make sure you guys tune into the Scene Snobs Tuesdays at 7.
Not this week, tomorrow at 8.
Oh, tomorrow at 8.
I couldn't do Tuesday. I was too tired. It was too much.
Well, tomorrow at 8, but normally Tuesdays at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time.
True.
Go check out Ambassador Media. If you're not checking that out, I don't know what you're doing. Of course, be here for Horror Stars 30. And like we said, Popcorn and Pints. And check out Stories from a Bar, 3 Geeks. Troy Hill Talks, which actually, that's going to be tonight at 10 o'clock. Awesome. Tune in for that. We got some fun conversations coming for you guys then. Or there. And we're gonna bounce though. I gotta make pee-pee and all that fun stuff.
Ew.
So